money already earmarked, that I do think if a Democrat with a strong voice says this is what we need, and you're right about your point about working with the Republicans is well taken, because even if you get all the Democrats, you'll still need 25 to 30 Republicans to pass anything. That's just the math. But in this case, the Kaiser Foundation, a well-respected independent think tank, looked at this. States that took the money, not only did their healthcare costs not rise as fast, but they have a much healthier populace, which means a much healthier workforce, higher productivity. I think we have a big opportunity. No one knows for sure how much money the state is going to need, but if it's as dire as we think it is because oil revenues are down, then that Medicaid money is going to be very, very tempting for the Republicans. We've seen time and time again, even on stimulus funds, on this other stuff, they talk tough, but when it comes down to it and the money's there, they'll do it. And so that would be one of my main priorities, Medicaid for everyone. That federal money sitting there, I think at the end of the day, if a bill reaches Governor Abbott's desk, it's bipartisan, he'll sign it and we'll get that done.
Maybe if we could just reframe it as Medicaid anti-terrorism.
Yeah.
Our border security.
Medicaid card comes with their open carry.
Border security.
Yeah, we love it.
Very good.
Yeah, open carry border security. Yeah,
That's clever. All right.
Guys, I've got to go. I don't mean to interrupt. I've got to get back to the office.
Thank
you
you.
for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks, Adam.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, this is just another example where we have Republicans,
Thank you.
leaders,
Thank you, Kim.
Appreciate it.
taking stands for partisan gains that are putting people's lives in jeopardy. And it's unacceptable, and we have to be calling them out on that. I think the good news is that when it comes to Medicaid, there's a great opportunity for collaboration and common ground, in large part because the business community has come out and said, hey, this is nonsense. We're turning away $100 billion over 10 years. That's money that taxpayers could be saving, that businesses can be saving. And they've also, studies have shown that for every dollar that you invest in Medicaid funding, that you actually get a return on that investment of $1.20. So it makes also, I come at it from a moral perspective. We need this because it's just morally just. But luckily, there's also an economic argument to be made, and that's something that is appealing to Republicans, and so there's an opportunity for bipartisan support on Medicaid reform. It just makes economic sense also. So, hopefully Abbott will then see the light with, at the end of the day in that regard, and if not, then hopefully he won't win a second term in office.
Good. Thank you. Gina.
So we will have an opportunity this coming session for a reason that's very scary, and that reason is that the budget is going to be extremely tight this session because of the price of oil. It's now below $30 a barrel because of the economy in China, because of the 25% cut to the margins tax that was passed last session, because they've diverted now all this money from the Department of Transportation, to the Department of Transportation from the General Revenue Fund. We're going to be hurting next session, and so we're going to have, not only is it immoral that we don't take this money, but it's fiscally irresponsible, and at some point we need to lead in this state. So I just don't know how we refuse that money next session. We've seen Republican governors all over this country decide, well, we should probably take that money, and it's just, I don't know that we'd have a solution. The school district, we've taken advantage of the 1115 waivers that works much in the same way, where we put up money and then we get more money from the federal government to spend on healthcare in our schools. So what we've done is we took advantage of that, and we put mental health care professionals in every single one of our high schools and in every Title I middle school. I'm proud that that has happened under my leadership as president of the school board, but that's just it's an opportunity. Why wouldn't you take it? It makes sense for our community, it's fiscally responsible, and it's the right thing to do.
All right. Anybody else? Any other last questions? I think, if there aren't, then we can thank them for coming, thank them for completing the questionnaire. Did you have a chance to actually hear everybody who they say? This man gives his life to poetry and social justice, and he does it all basically for free. So I have asked him, and I'm going to give him a personal check from me just to support his work. So anyone that feels, generous of heart, I know y'all are donating lots to lots of candidates and all these issues that we all support, but if you find a way to do that, he can share with you how to, I think you make checks to Wendy Woodruff, and that goes to support the work that he does for poetry here in Austin. So I'm gonna do that today before he leaves. Anyone else can't. So what we have here is our agenda, and I also have, we'll do the minutes when we get past it. We have a special guest here today, and she is Teresa Ferguson. Anybody remember her when she was on the radio? She was a radio DJ on KUT for FEM FM.
Yes, you
FEM
were.
FM. Teresa Ferguson. And so she is now with Austin Up, which I'll let her tell you about, the new consortium with an age-friendly agenda for Austin that has come together. And she's going to talk with us about the agenda that involves AARP, Austin Up, and the Austin Seniors Commission to promote an age-friendly action plan for
optimizing neighborhoods for intergenerational interaction. So the task force also recommended to form two entities. One was the Austin Commission on Seniors, which has been in place since 2014, and then Austin Up, a nonprofit to collaborate. Bring all the people who are working in the nonprofits together with people who are maybe entrepreneurs, who are starting businesses, working in the aging space. And then people who are interested as far as seniors and caregivers, boomers, people who are interested in the future of aging. Bring them all together, and that's Austin Up. So that's a little background about the organization. So when I came on in June last year, I kind of, a lot of different people, a lot of passionate people working in the area, but one of my pet peeves is duplicated efforts, duplication of efforts. You don't want that. And who needs another nonprofit, So I was a little skeptical, I must say.
Well, actually, I think we maybe need more, just more in the right
Area.
That's
Yes. So what I did was just talk to people who are working in this space and who are more knowledgeable than I about this topic. Well, a little background too, as far as my background and how I got into this job and my interest. So for all those years, I was working at KUT from 1984 to 2007. It was always my part-time job. I was in marketing and communications and public relations, and my full-time job in KUT was my side job. I worked on the Austin Music Commission, promoting Austin and live music and the live music scene and artists. And then my husband's parents, who were very fragile in health, declining in health, they lived in Albuquerque. In 2003, because they needed to be close to us, or we needed to be close to them, we moved them to Austin. And so now, in 2003, Neil and I, my husband, we were, pushing wheelchairs and with assistive devices, and I saw my city, my beautiful city, through a different set of eyes, a different lens. And I saw that some work needed to be done. And so,
Try to get to the Capitol in a wheelchair.
oh my gosh. And businesses too. Sometimes, businesses have huge doors and trying to maneuver that with anyway. So that's how I got into this, and it's become my passion. My parents are both gone now, but they inspire me every day. So we're not going to duplicate efforts. We are, I think our group we're not the frontline service provider. We are working with boomers, actually, mostly, who maybe have been in the caregiver role. We know what's coming, and we know that we want to do something a lot differently than what our parents experienced. And so that's what we're trying to do, is kind of engage that group. Not just for seniors, we're also talking to even millennials, because actually millennials make up about 25% of caregivers in the U.S.
Wow.
So they're experiencing it too. And a lot of people say, oh, millennials and seniors, Well, okay, we're talking to businesses. So millennials want to live close to where they work and play. So do seniors. Millennials want more flexibility in the workplace. So do seniors. So there is some common ground. We're just trying to get the groups together to kind of enlighten the business community. Changing perceptions is very important. enlightening is one of the words I use all the time, and I have to tell you about my neighbor Bill. He's 80 years old, and I walk in the neighborhood and I see him, and he's a marathon runner.
Wow.
And yes, he inspires me every day. Well, I told him about what we're doing in Austin Up. He said, Teresa, here's what I need you to do. he said, I run a lot of 5K races. And it used to be the categories were like, 55, 40, 45, 45 to 50, etc., 5-year intervals. And he says, but lately, they've been lumping 65 and up. He says, I'm 80 years old. My body is so different than a 65-year-old. And so I want to win. And I don't think it's the race producer's intention to, be disrespectful to seniors. I think that he or she just said, it's easy. But, yeah, we just need to...
After 65, we're only gonna have 3 entrants, so we might as well do it.
Yeah, exactly, right. Oh my gosh. So we need to have a little education to do. And then business outreach. I mean, quote from AARP, boomers control the majority of disposable income in this country, but only 10% of marketing dollars are spent on them. So, again, enlightenment.
Could you define boomers? I mean, I know I am one, but what's the current definition?
What is it?
It used to be bar baby. It
46
used to
to
be,
1946 to 64.
oh, I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
A pre-boomer.
Pre-boomer.
I'm a pre-boomer.
Yeah.
Pre-boomer.
Early boomers.
Yeah, early.
Pre-boomer. I like pre-boomer.
I like that. Active agers is another one I like
Yeah,
too. Active. So what Austin Up is doing, we've found a set of needs, mostly three needs. One is about learning. We're working with Leadership Austin to develop a curriculum for 55 and up to kind of re-engage, this community into the city process, into the community. So we are working, our goal is to have a class of 35 later this year, as our initial class. So for Leadership Austin. Also, I've been reaching out to UT, Texas State, Texas A&M, LBJ School of Public Affairs. They're all doing research related to the aging space, whether it's dementia and depression or devices, technology in seniors. There's a lot of research going on. So on our website, austinup.org, we are promoting and connecting people, individuals, seniors and boomers, to this research. Because that's another thing we're finding is that, so here are wonderful nonprofits, here are a lot of businesses, here are the education institutions doing the research, and they're all in their silos, in their individual silos. So again, let's bring them all together. So that's in the learning space is what we're doing. The next space, which kind of plays into the whole livable or Austin age-friendly plan, is livability and age-friendliness. So, let's see. On that handout is the 8 domains of livability. So this work group that we are working on is taking each of these 8 domains and assessing what are we doing well for seniors in the area of outdoor spaces? What are we doing well for seniors in transportation? What can we do better? A lot we could do better, it's turning out. When Mayor Lee Leffingwell convened this task force and I issued this beautiful report, Austin was designated an age-friendly city by AARP and the World Health Organization. Very cool. I know. Since then, nothing's been done. Nothing's been done. So, again, that's why this group is so important. For example, and this, we're interviewing people and kind of, again, part of this assessment, someone asked, why is it easier to order a pair of shoes online than to get help when it comes to aging services? There's no one place to go to navigate. As a caregiver, Neil and my husband and I, we didn't know about all the opportunities and services provided for people like us for caregiving, and it's enlightenment again. It goes back to that. And then also, I was talking to a professor down at Texas State just yesterday, and his area, let me show you this, Texas State has the only master's program, I think in the state, that studies dementia and aging studies. And so here's this professor, Christopher Johnson is his name, and he is talking about person-centered dementia care facilities instead of institutional. He said, so everybody, you know, you go to these institutions or these member care units, and they talk about, okay, it's shower time at 6 a.m. Well, what if a person prefers a bath? What if the person prefers showering or bathing at night? Again, you know, it's focusing on what the preferences are of the individuals. A lot of the newer models of living facilities talk about bringing pets into the facility. Well, again, that sounds very cool, but what if someone doesn't like pets? So again, asking the question, how do we personify your treatment? That's a whole trend. That's something that the Texas State University is leading. There are 2 facilities in development right now, one in Wimberley and one happening in South Austin, where it will be a research facility, and it will, for dementia care, but it will have people study the newer ideas, the newer concepts around this care, which is great for Austin. And again, Austin Up is trying to attract that kind of business to our city. And another thing that Dr. Johnson is doing is working with home builders. How do we convince home builders to build more age-friendly homes so that people can age in place instead of going to institutions? And then reaching out to businesses. In fact, Austin Up held a focus group or a community conversation about what makes a business age-friendly. We did this up at the Dell Jewish Community Center just last month. We had about 30 seniors came in. We asked questions about, you know, what is it that turns you off as a senior as far as, you know, businesses? And, you know, I got to share my stories about my in-laws, but, you know, people, like, we're talking about restaurants. You know those higher tables they have with the stools at restaurants now? That's very not age-friendly, you know, for seniors to
Yeah, well, you
sit
can
at.
sit at the bar, right.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then the music, the TV's blaring, the noise level. I mean, the parking lot, when it rains, are there, you know, does water puddle and people have to trod through the water to get to your business? You know?
Roll their wheelchair through the water.
Right. And we got 3 pages of great ideas from this group. And so what we're going to do is take that to the businesses and say, you know, here's a checklist of things that you can do for your business to be more welcoming to your senior customers. And then when they adapt that or adopt those principles, and they get a little decal or something. Again, just anything we can do to create that awareness. So that was one focus group we had. We're having one on March 5th over in the Miller community about what makes a neighborhood age-friendly. And that information will be fed into the age-friendly Austin plan. The next one that hasn't been scheduled yet is a focus group about aging and LGBT issues. So in the LGBT community, I was talking to one of the groups, I don't know if you have heard of them, but Prime Timers. It's a seniors, retired seniors group for gays and lesbians. And so I was talking to the director of that group, and he said, you know, especially our group with aging, a lot of denial going on. You know, so if we can come together as a group and talk about, here are our issues, here are our concerns, to kind of pave the way to prepare instead of just saying, I'm never going to get old. That'll be a great thing. So,
I beg your pardon.
oh, that's fine. Come on in.
Come on in, Elaine.
Hi, Bob. The question, the meeting on March 5th at Mueller, where at in Mueller?
It's at Wildflower Terrace. Oh,
Sure.
What
Patricia's apartment,
Yeah.
where we had our
That's such a
December
great
meeting.
thing.
We had
That's
our,
right.
she's a resident.
Yeah.
3801 Berkman Drive.
What time?
10:30.
Is it
On
open
Saturday.
to people
Yes.
from other
Oh my gosh,
neighborhoods?
yes.
Okay.
I love it.
Before they built your building, I argued with them, put it on Airport Boulevard so that people can get to a bus stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.